There's a generation sitting quietly in the middle, managing money in the strangest way possible, and nobody ever talks about them. We obsess over boomers and real estate. We analyze millennials and avocado toast. But Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, completely ignored. Ray quietly built more wealth than most millennials could dream of, yet he behaves like he's one paycheck from total disaster. Phil has $50,000 saved but won't replace his 15-year-old car. Their money psychology is completely unlike any other generation, and it all traces back to one specific moment in economic history that permanently broke their brains. It's 1983. Ray is 10 years old. Don takes him to the bank. Same company Don has worked at for 15 years. The teller knows him by name. Don had a pension, a savings account that actually paid interest, a mortgage paid off right on schedule. Everything made perfect sense. Work hard, save, retire comfortably. Flash forward to 28. Ray is 35. He followed the formula exactly. He did everything right. And then he watched his retirement account get cut in half overnight. His home value cratered. His company started laying off people with 20 years of loyalty. The formula was a lie. And that betrayal would shape every dollar decision for the rest of his life. Here's the first strange thing about Gen X and money. 70% say they're terrified about retirement, but they also have the second highest retirement contribution rates of any generation. They don't believe it will work, but they do it anyway. Psychologists call this defensive pessimism. You assume the worst and prepare obsessively. It's exhausting, but for Gen X, it kept them alive. Gen X invented the side hustle before millennials gave it a cute name. Federal Reserve data shows they have higher rates of self-employment and secondary income than boomers or millennials combined. But here's the twist. Most of them still keep their day jobs. Sandra isn't flipping houses because she loves real estate. She's building escape tunnels while keeping the main exit wide open. It's 1995. Ray is watching his mother's company downsize. People who worked there since before he was born, suddenly gone at 50. No warning. No safety net. Just a cardboard box. That image burned into every Gen X brain. Never depend on a single source of income. Not because they're entrepreneurial, because they're terrified. The Etsy shop, the consulting gig, the rental, that's insurance. Here's something that confuses marketers. Gen X will job hop without hesitation, but they're intensely loyal to the brands they grew up with, even when cheaper options exist. Institutions betrayed them. People didn't. When a corporation wrongs you, you get a form letter. So they're still buying the same brands from high school. Not because they're stuck, because those things never lied to them. Gen X spends around $3,000 a year on concerts, travel, and live events, more than any other generation in real dollars. Financially paranoid and experientially extravagant at the exact same time. Your house can go underwater. Your car drops in value. Your possessions mean nothing when the economy collapses. But a concert in 1994? Nobody can repossess that memory. Experiences give better returns than things. Gen X is the least likely generation to use a traditional financial advisor. They research everything themselves, but they're also the most anxious about whether they're doing it right. They want no help and all the validation. Gen X carries the highest total debt of any generation, but they're also the most strategic about it. They'll take a $400,000 mortgage and refuse to carry a $2,000 credit card balance. The lesson they learned wasn't never borrow. It was only borrow what you can map to completion. Mortgage for a house that builds equity. Never a credit card for a couch. Control is the whole game. 61% of Gen X keeps physical paper records of important documents, compared to just 34% of millennials. They built the internet. But they also remember when databases crashed and digital promises vanished. Digital banking app? Yes. Paper statements? Also yes. Cloud storage? Sure. Fireproof safe? Obviously. It seems excessive until you've lived through multiple system failures. Then it just seems like common sense. Gen X isn't confused or contradictory. They're adapted. specifically adapted to an economy that promised them one thing and delivered another. They're financial survivalists with retirement accounts. They trust nothing. They prepare for everything. They learned the lesson from 1983. Work hard. The system rewards you. They just also learned the system can change the rules whenever it wants. So they play the game, but they never forget it's rigged.